Hi there. I'm Sandi Givens, and I'm thrilled today to be chatting with a longtime colleague and now very good friend as well, Robyn Henderson, who is a ghostwriter, an author of I can't remember how many books now, and a consultant to business. And when she's consulting with business, Robyn, I've got to say you've developed quite a reputation with your clients about being a problem solver. And that's what I want to chat with you about today, because as far as as you've got a reputation with me, as well as if I've got a problem, oh, call Robyn.
I might be able to
So,
help.
yeah, so what I'm really interested in is um, how do you do that? I mean, how long's a piece of string? But
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by how your brain works when you
Okay.
have a problem.
So I'm unsure how my brain works, but what happens when a situation is presented to me, and it might be it's usually a disaster. It's a problem. It's an event. You're in the middle of an event, and someone's forgotten this or forgotten that, and some things you can't fix. That is the bottom line. Some things you can't fix. It might be that, well, have you got a run sheet? What time is this supposed to happen? Oh no, well, we don't have a run sheet. Okay, so you sort of learn from errors. So you start with, okay, well, next time we will have a run sheet. Have we got a checklist of the things? Oh, well, we didn't bring up we didn't bring up the wipes or something. Okay, well, we part of problem solving is putting systems in place so errors don't happen twice.
Mm.
And what I've observed is, in today's sort of busy, and busy is worn as a badge of honor, so that's another sort of mess. That it's not about being busy, it's about completing things, and I guess completing things is another whole conversation, but it's really about saying, okay, what's the priority that we're doing? Why are we holding this event?
Mm.
And what I try to do is go, why are we doing it? What are we trying to achieve? And how are we going to do that? Now, this could be a conference. It could be a presentation I might be giving. It could be writing a book, whatever it is. I always do the why, what, how. Why are you doing it? What are you trying to achieve? How are we going to do that? So if you're clear on your why, then to me, it's about what sort of experience are you trying to. So let's just say we were having a conference, and I was invited in, and I may be speaking at it, but I also might facilitate some networking things or whatever. Well, what are you actually trying to achieve here? And to me, it's about experience. Whether it's someone's coming to an annual general meeting, a board meeting, a party, get together, a farewell thing for a staff member. It's about the experience that they have. So you make sure, and it's a bit like you with your online programs and your face-to-face programs, you want them to invite you back, or you want them to say, Sandy's great, get her in. So the way you start to create that is by having an experience. And I guess I can relate it to volunteering, which I've done over the years, from film festivals to Christmas lunches for homeless people. I've done lots of different things. But if you arrive as a volunteer and they say, be there at 10 o'clock sharp or be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, you get there and they're not organised, I don't go back. I will stay the day or the night, whatever it is, but I don't go back. And if they're open to it, I'd say, would you like me to help you set up a system so that you never have a repeat of that again? Because volunteers have given up their time to donate. And when they arrive at something where chaos reigns, you can either get in and help and sort of sort the chaos, or you can look at it and just think, these people don't have a clue. Are they open to me suggesting things, or do they just want to have chaos? And if they just want to have chaos, that's great, but I'll walk away.
Yeah.
So I guess I really value my time and other people's time. And if you put systems in place, I believe the bulk of people really appreciate that something is organised and run smoothly.
Yeah. Couple of things there. So when you were talking about the experience, what kind of experience you want someone to have, you were relating that your experience as a volunteer, for instance,
at some organisation.
Was a very not good experience.
A very not good experience.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was, a very not good experience that I didn't go back to. And I did give them feedback, not that they wanted it, but
yeah.
I always offer to help. I always offer to say, look, would you mind if we did it this way? Or this might be a way. You know, I years ago, well, decades ago, my dad's been dead for, 22 decades. But way back, I worked for him a couple of times. He was a toy manufacturer. And that's a factory.
Yeah.
So the system is you start with a raw product here and you go around and it moves from, let's say you've got 7 stages in production. It goes from ideally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and out the front door. That's production, or on the shelves or something.
Yeah.
Now, here's an example. I was at an event and they were giving gift bags. Now, gift bags, they had the table set up.
I'm getting worried about where this is going.
Well, the way they'd set it up, it was going to take hours. They were moving the products, not the people. And I said, if you just set these up, this is item 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 10 items. And the person gets a bag, the volunteers get the bag, they walk around the table putting in the things rather than the way they had it, which was, it's like walking into a restaurant. I did this recently and it was sort of a buffet of sorts. I know buffet is harder with COVID now, but it was a buffet of sorts. And they had 200 people, but they only had one side of this very small bain-marie thing open. And I just went up to them. I get a reputation, yes, for problem solving, for also being a bit of a smarty, because I just went and I said, that food's going to be cold by the time the entertainment comes on, unless you open both sides. Oh, well, we don't normally do that. I said, you don't normally have 200 people. You must open the 2 sides. And they were thankfully open. Now, I was a guest. I wasn't even part of the organising. I just thought, this is chaos. This event's never going to happen. So it is, I think my brain works a bit in a logical sense, and it looks for patterns. I think that's what I do. I look for patterns of things and I look for systems. So people who do back in manufacturing decades ago, there used to be what was called just in time. So just in time, if you were manufacturing dresses, the material would arrive on the 1st of the month, the buttons and things, they'd all arrive on the one day. So you weren't paying for things miles out. Yeah. And then the boxes for you to put the finished dresses in would arrive on this day. And it was just in time. It was a crazy system because there were too many things that could let you down. So it all starts with having a system where you have a list of what has to be done, and you start, like Stephen Covey says, with the end in sight. Well, it's got to finish at 9 o'clock. What time's it start? What time do people have to get there? And who's accountable for what?
Oh,
that's a very big one on my
someone
radar.
else's job. That's someone else's job.
Yes,
but
when
I want to meet someone else, where are they?
Where are they? Because when you actually give a task, and I've done this with many events, give a task and say, you're the meter and greeter. You don't move away from that registration area. When people walk in, this is what you say, and then you take them from here and you move them over to, this is the, key person here. This is like a networking event, and you introduce them to that one because they might have arrived by themselves. So you give them a system, but you make people accountable.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Robyn, you've talked a lot about events, and
yes,
and I know that, oh my goodness, over your speaking career, you've spoken at heavens knows how many thousands of events.
Yes.
This same problem solving sort of approach, if we go back to the idea of systems and stuff, like, would that same approach apply to, well, I guess I'm answering my own question as I ask it, because I'm thinking, like, within organizations, there's lots of systems in place, lots of processes in place.
Yes.
Where and you can go in like you did with the restaurant and say, here's how we can improve this system. So
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
just about events, is it?
Oh, no. I'm just using those that example of an event because that was quite recent. But yeah, it's a situation where you really look at, and I guess for an organization, any organization, it's asking the question, how could we do it better?
Yeah.
What's letting us down in this system? So I did a presentation recently about negotiation skills. And the bottom line was you will always pay premium if you're buying it less than 24 hours before you need it. But if you know that you need it and you buy it a month before, you will get it so much cheaper.
Yeah.
But when you phone someone and you say, I need this, 24 widgets by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, drop to whatever area, they'll go, sure, that's our 24-hour premium super duper. Yeah, we'll charge you 5 times what it's worth because you're desperate.
Yeah.
So it's about people planning things. It's not concrete. I think today's world is very fluid. But we've got to look at what end result do we want? What budget do we have to achieve that? We can put on a huge event and, have champagne and caviar and flowers and, gifts for everyone. But we've got to, yeah, I'll come.
Yeah.
But we've got to be a budget. We've got a, $5 a head budget. So what can we do? That's a problem in itself. What can we do for $5 that will make the experience fantastic? So here's an example. I've got I'm doing a Christmas in July event tomorrow for my film group, and varying ages, 35 to 85. And I pride myself on being able to find things for them that are really inexpensive but look impressive. So I've got all the presents all wrapped up, ready to go for tomorrow. Now I've located, and one of the ladies, oh bless her, she's 83, and she said, Robyn, we get very embarrassed when you give us these beautiful gifts. And I said to her, but I buy them. And I told her where I bought them. And I said, I get 7 for $10. 7 for $10. These are like recycled magazines. So this whole thing, she said, but you wrap them and everything. I said, I love wrapping presents. That's one of my things. I love wrapping. And so now, because she told me that 6 months ago, my system is I'll give out the presents tomorrow, and I get them to like there's cards aren't on. They're just wrapped, diff wrapped. So they've got 2 piles. They're getting a magazine and they're getting one of those like a crossword Sudoku or one of those like mental activity books.
Yeah.
So there's 2 different piles. I'll get them to pick one of each. No one opens their present till everyone's got it. That's my sister. And then they open it and they ooh and ah and, oh, Robyn, you spoil us. And I go, okay. And now what I do is say to them, I don't want to minimize my gift because, I care so much about all of you. I love having these events. All up, it cost me $2 because I went to that shop I told you about. Yeah. And they laugh and go, seriously? Oh my God, this is amazing. Look, this price on this is $19.95. I said, yeah, they mark them down. Yeah, when they put them in this box where I go. And they laugh about it, So, yeah. I mean, that's a very small example of a social thing that I do, but the principle remains the same. Yeah. When we talk about, I had a client years ago who used to buy tickets to go to the sporting events and spend a fortune in the stands, in the box, and the corporate thing that they had was astronomical. And they said, and we were talking about, we'd both been at this same game. And he said, which box do you go in? I said, oh, no, I go on the hill. I said, I just get, I get the cheap tickets. I buy, a scarf and a flag, and I just give it to my clients and they love it. And he looked at me, he said, oh, you cheapskate. I said, it's the experience.
So this isn't so much, I mean, now we're moving into, I think we're going to have another session to talk about all this.
We may.
Because one of the things you taught me years ago was give without remembering and receive
without forgetting.
Yes. And you have that generosity of spirit of, you know, you're giving these presents to your film club people, not because you think, oh, they owe me one now, or oh,
No.
you get such joy in the giving. So to me, that's
Yeah,
another whole thing I'd love to talk to you about at
yeah.
another time. But my takeaway from what you said today, um, two of them, well, many of them, but the one that really hit me was when you said start with the end in mind. And I know Stephen Covey taught us
Copy.
that.
Yes.
Um, but I think sometimes we just jump into something and start doing, because you
Yes.
said busyness is a badge of honor, right?
Well,
And
for
so,
some, yes. And they wear it as I used to do it too, but it's
mm,
not healthy.
no. Um, so rather than just jump in and start being busy but not necessarily effective, just take a moment to sit back and go, okay, what am I actually aiming for here?
What are we
Is
trying to
there,
achieve?
yeah,
Yes. And what budget do we have? What budget do we have? And if it's a very small budget, which most people have today, then how creative can we be about how we're going to turn that budget? And sometimes the budget is zero, let's face it. Then you've really got to be creative.
yeah,
But it's about how can we solve a problem could be we've got to buy gifts for all these people and we don't know where to go, or we've got gift bags and nothing to put in the gift bags, or we've run out of this, we've run out of that. How can we fix it?
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing. You've got such a positive attitude to fixing it. I remember there was another client you chatted to me about where they were having some big event and they were waiting for something to be delivered for this big
Oh,
event.
the chocolate cake.
Yeah, which didn't come. And you go, okay, you just go into problem solving mode. So, okay, here's what we're going to do instead.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people, when a problem or a crisis like that comes up, they go, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to
Yeah.
do? And you've
Yeah.
got a calmness about you, which I think must help your brain.
Well, I think that's a good observation. I think what I also don't want to do is spend any energy on blaming the person who may not have ordered whatever was meant to turn up, or they did order it and they were let down by their supplier. So it's not their fault either way. So I think too much energy is spent today on whose fault is that? Oh, it's John's fault. Well, let's blame John and John will get a bad mark. And we just see it in the media every night. Rather than going, if this is our problem, what are our options within our time frame and our budget to fix it? What are our options? And sometimes do we just cancel this project, or do we roll it over for a couple of months?
Yeah.
When we're clear on the why, what, how, I do think things fall into place. And if they can't come up with a why, we'll just cancel the whole thing. Cancel the promotion, cancel the thing. Because if you're not clear on the why, when you're tested, and a lot of us get tested, when we're tested, we just won't do it. We won't be able to get the strength to finish it.
And it's the same for a process in a business, in that if somebody can't explain, because there's a lot of people who learn primarily from explain to me why this process has to be done in this way.
Yes.
And then I can engage with it more, it makes more sense to me. So I think everything you've said about events is so applicable to just
to business. Absolutely. And I think it was there was a quote I was reading recently, and I'm being disrespectful not remembering, but it was either the Apple guy, it was some very well-known person, and he used to say his theory was employ the laziest person you can find. They will find a better way to do it because they'll take shortcuts. Whereas I just see the problem solving isn't about, to me, my form of problem solving is about, let's not lay blame, let's just fix the immediate problem, and let's put a system in place that this never is repeated. And whosever fault it is, well, hopefully they learn a lesson too. So, it's a bit about the bigger picture of the experience rather than it was John's fault. I think that's just a waste of energy in the bigger picture.
Yeah. Well, Robyn, you've given me lots of food for thought. I'm sure people watching and listening to this will likewise have a lot of food for thought. And you've also given me lots of ideas of other things I want to talk to you about in other episodes. So For
Okay.
now, I think we better get ready to say goodbye. If anyone listening wants to learn more about Robyn and her masterful skills in so many areas, best place to look her up is to start with her LinkedIn profile.
Definitely.
So yeah, you go to LinkedIn and search for Robyn, spelled with a Y, Robyn, Henderson, Henderson. And well, pour yourself a nice cup of tea and enjoy reading all about Robyn's background and her skills in this world of ours. So, Robyn, thanks for joining me today. It's been great.
Thanks, Sandy. It was fun.
Promise me we'll have another one.
We will, definitely. Thank you.